Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging directly into a really transformative point in the Fellowship of the Ring.
Ah, yes. The chapter, The Council of Elrond.
Exactly.
This isn't just, another step in the plot. It's really where everything shifts. A hobbit's personal flight from home.
Yeah.
It suddenly becomes this massive, desperate mission.
Yeah, to save all of Middle-earth, basically. The scale just explodes right there.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
From intimate beginnings to a world-spanning conflict.
Absolutely. And, okay, it's true. The chapter is mostly dialogue. It's one long conversation, really. Lots of lore, lots of history packed in there.
A lot of history.
But buried in all that talk is this unforgettable moment. Frodo Baggins, just quietly offering to take the ring to Mordor.
Such a quiet moment, but so powerful.
So our aim today, our mission for this deep dive, is to figure out why this chapter is just so foundational. Why does that small act carry, such immense weight?
We need to dissect this whole gathering in Rivendell. You've got elves, dwarves, men, hobbits, all converging, and really grasp the significance of that unassuming volunteer.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. Frodo's made it to Rivendell. Relative safety, anyway. He's still recovering from the journey.
Right.
The Morgul blade wound.
Right. But while he's healing, this larger crisis is unfolding. There's a shadow stretching across the world.
So what's the feeling, the atmosphere as this council actually convenes?
Well, Rivendell is usually seen as this, timeless sanctuary, right?
Yeah.
A safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
But suddenly, it's the staging ground for a last-ditch effort. The council is like the pivot point, the fulcrum. It shifts the whole story from Frodo's escape to this massive quest.
The fate of everyone hanging in the balance.
Exactly. There's this unspoken dread. You can feel the weight of ages in that room.
And Tolkien uses this council, this conversation, to just unfurl this huge tapestry of Middle-earth's history. It's not just backstory dumped on you, though. It feels active, present.
Yeah, precisely. That's what he does so masterfully. He takes millennia of really fractured history and compresses it into this single, incredibly high-stakes moment.
So we learn about the Rings of Power being forged?
Yep. Sauron's first rise, Isildur's failure at Mount Doom, that tragic moment.
Yeah, huge. And Gollum's part in it all, finding the ring again.
Right. And it's not just exposition, like you said. It's the absolute foundation. It establishes the urgency, the peril. It makes it crystal clear why this ring is so incredibly dangerous.
And why destroying it is, well, maybe the only path left.
The only path, exactly.
Okay, so you've got this massive historical context laid out. The danger is clear. The central question then becomes, what do we do with this thing, this ring? What are the options they actually discuss?
It's a fascinating debate, isn't it? Because each idea has this kind of desperate logic behind it.
Like what?
Well, some argue, let's just hide it again. Bury it somewhere, hope it gets forgotten.
Wishful thinking, maybe?
Perhaps. Then others, and this is the really dangerous path, they consider trying to use it. Wield its power against Sauron himself.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that sounds risky. My first thought on hiding it is, well, the history lesson they just had shows it doesn't stay hidden, right? It wants to be found.
Exactly. It has a way of resurfacing, a will of its own almost.
And that just feels like fighting fire with, well, super corrupting fire.
Absolutely. And this is where Tolkien really gets into the nature of power. The ring isn't just a tool or a weapon. It's insidious. It's temptation itself.
So even the powerful ones there, like Elrond, Gandalf,
Yeah.
they couldn't use it.
That's the wisdom they bring. Elrond, Gandalf, even Galadriel, who isn't there but whose perspective is understood, they all recognize the ring's influence is too strong. Even the best intentions, the noblest hearts, would eventually be corrupted.
So the debate isn't just strategy, it's moral.
It's a profound moral reckoning, yeah. It peels back the layers, reveals the deepest values, the fears, the hopes of all the different peoples represented there.
And just when it seems like there's no good answer, when the weight of this impossible choice is just crushing everyone,
Then comes the moment.
an unexpected voice. Frodo. Hobbit. Seems like the least likely person in the room to solve this.
And that's the emotional core of the chapter, isn't it? Frodo's quiet statement. I will take the ring.
Though I do not know the way. Chills. Just chills.
It's delivered with such understated resolve. It's not grandstanding. It's not a boast. It's just simple acceptance of this terrifying, impossible burden. What really hits you about that moment?
I think it's the humility. Just sheer humility. There's no pride, no look at me. Just Quiet courage facing, utter dread.
Yeah,
It perfectly captures Tolkien's idea, doesn't it? That the small, the ordinary, can possess extraordinary strength.
precisely. And what happens immediately after is just as powerful.
The fellowship starts to form
Mhm.
right there.
Spontaneously. It's not some carefully negotiated political alliance.
No, it's pure gut reaction, isn't it? Sam first, obviously. His loyalty is just
It's
absolute.
shakable.
And then the others step up. Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli Elf, and dwarfs side by side for this.
Yeah, which is huge in itself.
Boromir representing men, and even Merry and Pippin, the other hobbits.
It's this diverse group suddenly united, not by strategy, like I said, but by what belief in the quest,
Yeah.
belief in Frodo.
Both, I think. A shared commitment to this crazy, unlikely mission, and to the hobbit who just volunteered for the hardest part.
And that's the true beginning, the birth of the fellowship, the start of the real journey. It shows how one act of courage, however quiet, can just ripple outwards, inspire unity even across these deep divides.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Adaptations, Peter Jackson's 2001 film. How does it handle this scene? It's so much dialogue. Translating that visually must have been a challenge.
It was a huge challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the film does a pretty commendable job, honestly. It condenses the essence of the council.
It captures the tension, the gravity.
I think so. The visuals help a lot. Seeing the different races react,
Mhm.
the elves looking ancient and wise, the dwarves being typically stubborn and proud.
Gimli getting very upset about the ring.
Right. And Boromir's internal conflict, you can see it playing out on Sean Bean's face.
Yeah.
It's effective.
But naturally, stuff gets left out, especially that deep dive into history we were talking about.
Well, yeah, that's the trade-off, isn't it?
Right.
The film has to streamline. It gives you the key plot points, the necessary beats to understand what's happening.
Read the book.
The book paints this incredibly vast historical canvas. Tolkien gives you genealogies, mentions lost kingdoms, hints at events from thousands of years ago. It adds these layers, this weight, this significance that a movie just doesn't have time for. Can only really hint at it.
It's interesting you mentioned streamlining because the 1978 animated film, Ralph Bakshi's version,
Oh yeah, what about it?
it just skips the Council of Elrond entirely, just cuts it out.
Really? Wow.
Which, when you think about it, just massively underscores how fundamental this chapter is, right? If you take it out, you lose so much. The context, the stakes, Frodo's choice.
That omission really proves the point, doesn't it? It's not just a transitional scene you can trim. It's the absolute bedrock. Intellectually, emotionally, it's where the quest truly begins.
Absolutely. And thinking beyond the plot mechanics, this chapter is just soaked in these big, timeless themes.
Like, what stands out most to you?
Well, choice, obviously. The power of individual choice. Courage, too, facing overwhelming odds. And unity, finding strength together despite, ancient grudges and differences.
Mm-hmm. And if you think about when Tolkien was writing, after the horrors of World War I, living through World War II,
Right.
that idea of different peoples, maybe even former enemies, having to unite against this overwhelming evil, it must have felt incredibly relevant.
Yeah.
It speaks to something deep, I think, that need for connection, for shared purpose,
Yeah.
when things look bleakest.
So wrapping things up on the chapter itself, the Council of Elrond. It might seem dense, maybe even a bit slow on first read compared to, say, the Mines of Moria.
Sure, it's not an action sequence.
But it's incredibly rich, vitally important. It's the absolute pivot point. It shifts the whole story from Frodo's personal flight to this epic, world-altering quest.
Couldn't agree more. And ultimately, I think the chapter's last of power, the thing that really resonates, isn't the long speeches or the arguments of the powerful elves or wizards.
No. What is it then?
It's that quiet courage, that unassuming hobbit, just simply saying, I'll do it, offering to take on this impossible, terrifying task.
Yeah.
That one single act just echoes through the entire rest of the story.
So yeah, our deep dive really shows the Council is the linchpin. It lays out the history, forces this huge moral debate about the ring, sets up Frodo's incredibly brave, humble decision.
And kicks off the fellowship.
Yeah.
Marks the true beginning.
Which makes you think, doesn't it? It poses this question, maybe for you listening, thinking about challenges, big decisions in your own life, or maybe things you've seen.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen that happen? An unexpected person, maybe someone overlooked, just stepping forward with that kind of quiet courage to face something that seemed, well, insurmountable.
It's a powerful thought, isn't it? The potential hidden in the ordinary. How unexpected people can rise to meet extraordinary moments.
But definitely something to reflect on. We really encourage you, if you haven't recently, go back and read this chapter. Immerse yourself in it. Feel the weight. See its significance in the whole grand story of Middle-earth.
Absolutely. It rewards rereading.
Well, thanks for me.